good morning. So this morning I want to talk about plants. By no means am I an expert on plants, but I want to talk to those folks that want to have plants or maybe never had plants, but plants that are easy to grow for just about anybody. You don't need no special tools or CO2 and all that fancy stuff. If you want to know more about plants in the more sophisticated and higher level plant keeping, I recommend that you go see Stefan over at Lush and Salty Aquariums. That man has awesome tanks, beautiful plants, and he goes through them and talks, a lot about his process and everything. And he's really super smart when it comes to plants. I'm not the super smart guy, but I just want to show you that anybody can grow plants. You really can. You don't have to buy the sophisticated, expensive plants. You can buy plants that are easy to grow and you can do it. So I really want to reach out to those folks that are looking to put plants in their tank. If you've been like me in the past, like I say, I've only been having planted tanks for about 4 or 5 years now. So my experience level is only that much. But for you folks, if you were like me, I tried plants years ago. All I did was kill it because I really didn't know what I was doing. So let's get into it a little bit. This video is basically for folks that are interested in easy to grow plants. My experience with what plants I've had that have been fairly easy to grow. I haven't had any real difficult plants. Now, granted, with that said, I have had some plants that I bought and they didn't do well. They died off and never came back. And so I kind of remember that, and whatever my water conditions are, those plants don't thrive in it very well. So my plants that I have here seem to thrive very well. So anyway, let's get into it. I'll walk you through my tanks and the plants that I have in there, and I'll show you some plants that, for me have been easy to grow and no problems. And like I say, I'm not the expert by any means, but here we go. Let's get into it. So let's take a look at the 40 breeder. So in this tank, these plants have grown very easy for me. This is a Java fern, and a lot of folks, I hear folks say, well, I can't get Java fern to grow. I've heard some people say it grows good, some grows bad. For me, I don't know what I'm doing, but it seems to do very well for me. So the Java fern in here is growing very good. I also have Anubias in here. Here's a small type of Anubias, and as you can see right behind that Macosmus, right here, there's some more Java fern shooting up from back there, because I do keep pulling pieces of this Java fern out of here, and I plant it in other tanks, which you'll see later on. Also in here, you can't really see, but there's a Anubias in here. I love Anubias. I can't say enough about Anubias. I love it. And then there's another type of Java something. I don't know, it's not a Java fern, but some other thing. And of course I have the Jungle Bell in here, which has grown all the way around to the back, and it's way in the back there. Bunch growing up, and I didn't plant it there. It's just grown around through the substrate and shoots up. And one other thing I like to mention, so you remember recently I just did a video on, I lost a bunch of tetras in this tank, and so I do have some fish on order from Dan's Fish that's coming that are going to go in this tank. But yesterday I was over at the VA, and on the way back I stopped by the pet store over there, and they had some good looking neons that look good and healthy, so I picked up 10 of them and threw them in here, and they are doing very well. One of the things in there the lady scooped up, you know, fish. There is a fish that's in here. If it comes back where I can see it, it ain't a neon. There he is, right there. I don't know what it is, but that came with them. And it ain't a neon unless it's an albino. So who knows what that is that was in that tank with them. So anyhow, so that's the plants in this tank that I've had, you know, good luck with. So, and let's move to the 75 gallon. So here in the 75 gallon, you know, I have, once again, Jungle Val, which I started with 1 or 2 strands way in the back corner by that sponge filter. And as you can see, if you zoom in a little bit, you'll see the Jungle Val is shot up, come up around, it's coming around to the front corner here, and it's shooting up underneath the rocks there and growing up. And now I also have a batch of it that's shot underneath the rocks and growing up over here. So Jungle Val is a pretty easily growing plant. And then I never can pronounce this thing. It's pasta something, whatever. I call it the octopus plant. That's its nickname because the leaf is long, stringy, like an octopus. I have not yet been able to kill it. I mean, that plant, it just seems to grow really good. So that's cool. And then you see some of these red stem plants. Don't know what they are, and then there's some more stem plants right here. Stem plants for me, I mean, I like them in some ways, but you see what happens. They tend to have leaves at the top, and the stem is just a big long stem. Now maybe if I had CO2 it'd be different, but I don't do CO2, so it is what it is. And then I have this crypt here. Now this crypt has done very good for me. I've never had crypts before. I bought a batch of them. I got like 3 or 4 of them, different types. And this one has done really good, and as you can see, it's starting to shoot little shoots of the crypt out at the base. So as it gets growing and bushing out, then I will start transplanting pieces of that. The next plant that we'll talk about, it's super easy to grow. Anybody can grow it, I'm pretty sure, but it's also super annoying because it grows so much it will overtake your tank, and that is that guppy grass. So you see this guppy grass over here, all that little thin stuff. I have literally taken handfuls out of tanks, literally handfuls, and try to get rid of it, but you leave one little shot of it and I guarantee it'll just start growing again. So guppy grass is another one that's easy to grow. Your shrimp love it. Your fish love it, like guppies and stuff. They love it, you know. I mean, and plants are good for your tank, so you can't complain there. Then once again, there's a pothos plant. So I just threw this pothos plant right in the tank, and it seems to be doing fine. And my 40 breeder that's over there, I have a pothos that's growing all the way up out there. So pothos is another good plant to put in your tank, or at least put the roots in there, and then it'll grow outside of your tank. You can do it either way. And then here you go, there's some more stem plants, and like I say, there's on the base of the stem plant, new shoots coming up. And so there's some Java fern right there. I pulled that stalk of Java fern out of my 40 breeder, and it's starting to take off now. And now I've got a shoot that came underneath the wood and the rocks, and there I got a new shoot of Java fern coming up. So like I say, Java fern has done very well for me. Now some people have had trouble with it, like I say, but for me, I've done pretty good with it. And once again, there's some octopus plant there, and guppy grass again, and then there's this plant here. Not sure what it is. It's really not done a whole lot. It's been like that for quite a while, so who knows. Another thing is my favorite plants are Anubias. So in there is an Anubias which is attached to the wood there, and then there is another giant Anubias. He's in the back there. It's really hard to see, but the big leaves you see, that is an Anubias Bartiera, and they do really good. If you want a starter plant, to me opinion, get some Anubias. Now Anubias is a slow grower. but it does grow, and it's really a decent plant. So let's swing over to my 29 and my 20-gallon tanks real quick. So this is my 20-gallon tank, and once again, let's talk about the guppy grass. This tank, literally about a month and a half ago, maybe a month ago, I pulled out handfuls. I filled like a half a 5-gallon pail with guppy grass out of this tank alone, and I thought I got it all out, but as you can see, one little piece and it just grows like crazy. Now my fish like it, the guppies like it, the shrimp that's in here, they like it, so okay, that's fine. That's the way it is, I guess. And then once again, my favorite plant is Anubias, slow grower, but I like the big leaf, and it's the Bartiera version, and that's the big leaf version of Anubias. There's several versions of Anubias out there, and I like them all, but I like the big, I prefer the big leaf, I should say. And then there's this plant, don't know what it is. It's done pretty good. And then over here is another one of the same thing. Sorry about the glare, let me kind of block the light. This plant has done very well. It just keeps growing and growing like that. So another plant that I have in this is up on top is frogbit. Well, so I love frogbit, but it's another rapidly growing plant, and it really grows fast. So about every 2 weeks, I basically scoop out a bunch of it, and I have a friend of mine that has some ducks, so we give the guppy grass, frogbit, and duckweed. That's another plant that's in here. I'm working my way through removing duckweed, and what I do to remove duckweed is I have a little square it's aluminum thing about this big. It's like a little container, and I just dip it in the water a little bit and let the duckweed suck into it. And then what I do is I have this little screen here, and I pour that container into here, and the duckweed catches here, and the water goes back in the tank, so I don't have to lose water. And I just keep doing that till I get all the duckweed out of here. And I've got a bunch of it out, but there's still duckweed in here. You can see it. That little piece right there. If you don't take care of it, and there's another one, this stuff will just, duckweed will just grow intensely quickly. It's like, I think overnight it duplicates itself. Okay, so let's go to the next tank. Let's go to my 29-gallon. So here we go here. So my 29-gallon, same thing. I've got stem plants in here. I've got some Anubias Bartiera in the back, great big ones. And there's another one that's attached to the wood. And then here's another type of Anubias with the smaller leaves right over here. And then of course, the infamous, growing a brain fart, Jungle Bell. So I started with like 3 pieces of Jungle Bell that I pulled out of my 40 breeder. And as you can see, it's grown like crazy. And I started in this corner, but as you notice, if you go back all the way over to here, the Jungle Bell has grown up all the way around the back, all the way around the side, and it's coming up around to the front and shooting more shoots over this way. So it's Jungle Bell is another easy to grow plant for sure. I have a crypt in this one as well. There's 2 crypts in here. So I have this one, which has been pretty stable. I haven't seen much mega growth in it, just kind of a little bit. But then there's another one that seems to be doing really good in the back there. As you can see, the leaves, there's a leaf there shooting out, and it seems to be growing pretty good. So, and then I have, like I say, up top, ton of doggone frogbit, and also, you know, duckweed, so I fish it out of there as well. There's some stem plants that have just kind of rooted itself up there in the big ball roots, and like I say, my shrimp and the fish, they all like it, so it's a good thing anyhow. So that is these tanks. So let's go take a look at my 125. I really like that tank, and it's mainly Anubias. So let's go take a look at it. All right, folks, so this is my 125. And like I say, this tank has mainly Anubias in it, and which I really love. And so let's start over here on the left. And so this is the Anubias Bartiera. And as you can see, it's starting, seed pods on it. Pretty cool. And then there's another plant here in the back. I don't know what it is, but it seems to be growing very well in here. And then plant sticking up front here is some type of stem plant. And then there's another Anubias Bartiera right here, also with seed pods, and you can see the new leaves coming up. And then there is another, you can't really see them very good, but there's a Anubias up there, and it's rooted to the wood. And then once again, the octopus plant, a little piece of it broke off, I guess, and then it attached itself to that wood, and it's grown like haywire. And then another type of Anubias, a smaller leaf piece of Anubias. And then this kind of Anubias, I don't know all the names of them, but it's a thinner leaf. And then same way, you can just see all the roots, how the roots have just attached themselves, and then they just start spreading out. And then there's another big chunk of Anubias that's just rooting out like crazy. And then another Bartiera Anubias. And here's some sort of Java something, I don't know what they call it, plant. But then you got, like I say, the octopus plant. Like I said, this is a plant I don't think you can kill. It just seems to grow like crazy. You trim it and it grows. You trim it and it grows. And then here's another big old piece of Anubias, and there's actually two of them. There's a thin-leafed Anubias, and then there's a bigger leaf Anubias there in the back behind it. So this actually is my favorite planted tank. I mean, I just love the Anubias, and it grows very well, and the tank does very well with it. So that's what I think about the Anubias. If you want an easy plant, that's my opinion, probably the best plant or the easiest plant. Slow grower, but it's, probably the best plant for you. So let's take a look at my stock tank out in my garage that's full of my rice fish and plants out there. Let's take a look at it. All right, so this is my 150-gallon stock tank. It's only been set up about 3 weeks now, and so as you can see, there is a big Java fern there. Now I pulled that out of my 40 breeder, a giant root ball of it, and stuck it in here to grow. And as you can see, I got lots of frog bit in here. And look at all of this guppy grass. This guppy grass just grows and grows. Like I say, I'll be taking a bunch of it out or giving it away to people because it just grows crazy. Like I say. And there's another piece of Java fern right there. I kind of get in between the bars there, but you can see that Java fern. That was one stalk that I pulled out of my 40 breeder as well and just threw it in here. And then I have over here, this is part of my wife's plant. She was replanting them, during the summer or spring or whatever, and that's actually a peace lily. There's two of them in there, that big one, and then there's a smaller one right there. So we're going to let them grow out in here, and as you can see, this tank is doing well. I also have jungle val in here. As you can see, a little bit of it starting. I put a few strands of it in here. We'll see how well that takes off in here. And then I have no idea what this plant is, but it's nice and green and looks good. But it's a type of stem plant, I believe, and it's doing well. So I also have behind here is I have a little tub. Now this tub originally I had it in my fish room right next to the window, and it had my rice fish fry from this last summer, and I was growing them out in here. And I also had a 5.5 gallon that I was growing them out that now has shrimp in it. And then I just recently put all the rice fish in here. But anyway, this thing is just plants. That's all it is. And I'm just letting the plants grow, and I'll harvest them and get the plants as I need them and plant in other tanks as they grow out. And this is my 10-gallon shrimp tank, and it also has celestial pearl danios in here, but they stay hidden way in the back because they don't like people, I guess. They stay hidden. They're very shy. But in this tank, I just have stem plants and some guppy grass and some of that octopus plant that I call it. And a little bit up top, I have a few floating plants up there. Like I say, they grow like crazy, so I weed them out and they grow back and then weed them out. And then let's move over to my 10-gallon real quick. Or I should say my 5.5 gallon. Same thing, it's a shrimp tank. Got nothing but blue dream shrimp in it. Stem plants, guppy grass, and a few, very few floating plants because I just weeded it out. And also has some of the octopus plant in there. But that's it for these plants, or these tanks and these plants. And that's the last of them. Alright folks, so let's do a quick recap. So you want some easy plants, here's my recommendations. Number one, Anubias. Any kind of Anubias, I mean, I've had great luck with them. And I'm not a super plant guy, you know, but I'm talking easy plants, and for me, that's been the easy plant. Another one, guppy grass. Guppy grass is an easy to grow plant. Now, with that said, it will grow like crazy, so you will have to weed it out, trim it out, whatever. Floating plants, you get like the frog bit like I have, definitely grows like crazy for me. I like that. The Postastemma garden, I call it the octopus plant. That's another plant that just grows like crazy. Java fern for me has done great. I hear others say they haven't had good luck with it, but for me, it's done really good. And also some crypts. Crypts do pretty good. So those are easy plants. You don't need CO2. Now, if you really want to get into super lush and plants like that, you know, you can do CO2. I don't do CO2. And I don't use fertilizers either. Of course, all my planted tanks, just kind of caveat on that, I don't vacuum the sand or the substrate at all. I let the loam grow there because the loam helps feed the plants and feeds into the substrate for the rooted plants. So, but anyway, that's just a quick recap, you know. And also Jungle Bell. Jungle Bell is another great plant. Grows like crazy, easy to grow. So those are my recommendations for those of you that want to get into plants and you're really not sure what to do, but those are the easiest plants that I know of right off the bat. So anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate each and every one of you, and y'all have a great day.